Quierete. We're going to be talking about exponential growth and decay today, so do make sure you have this paper so you don't have to rewrite everything. Let's start with growth. So the equation for exponential growth is this: y equals a times the quantity 1 plus r, and that's to the t power. So please notice that's plus, this is t, that's why it has a little tail. So y is our final amount, a is our original amount, r is our rate of growth, and t is our time. And so remember when we first started talking about exponentials, a was our original amount, so that has not changed. Another thing we need to point out is that rate of growth, just like when we're talking about compound interest, rate of growth needs to be a decimal. Needs to be a decimal. And since it's growth, you're going to add r to it. All right, let's look at the equation for decay. It's going to be really similar. You have a, 1, but you're going to subtract r, and it's still to the t power. And notice nothing's changed with what they mean. Y is still the final amount. A is still the original amount. R is still the rate of growth, and t is still the time. R instead of being rate of growth, my bad, is rate of decay, and it's still got to be a decimal. Let's talk about half-life. So half-life is a type of decay where r equals 0.5. So that means if we look at our decay equation up there, what do you think our equation is going to be? Well, it should be y equals a times 1 minus 0.5 to the t. Well, we can simplify this. We can do 1 minus 0.5, you'd end up with this. Y equals a times 0.5 to the t. And here's the thing, time is going to be a little different for half-life. If you have to figure out how many half-lives are in a time period. So if we say we have a half-life of 2 weeks, and we want to know the amount at 8 weeks, then t is going to be 8 divided by 2, which is 4. Okay, we're going to jump right into examples. Okay, we have a sales company, sales at a company are $372,000, and they're increasing at a rate of 5% per year. We want an equation for this. So this is our initial amount, our original amount. So this right here is A. That's how much we started off with. We are increasing, so that means we have growth. And our rate is 5%. But remember, we have to have a decimal for rate. So what's the decimal for 5%? Well, that'd be 0.05. So let's put this into an equation. We would have something like this. I'm going to write it over here first. I'm going to write my final answer here, but let's start over here. So y equals my a, which is right here, 372,000, times 1 plus my rate, which is 0.05, and that's to the t power. But here's the thing, I can simplify. I can do 1 plus 0.05, and here's what I end up with. Y equals, nothing happened here, 372,000. 1 plus 0.05 is 1.05, and that's still to the t power. Okay, that's one part of the answer. Now we want to know what the sales are after 8 years. So what are we going to replace with 8, t or y? Well, t is time, so we're going to replace t with 8. We get this. And in my calculator, I'm going to type exactly that. Make sure this 8 is an exponent. When you type it in, you should get a big number. I do believe it was 549,613. Remember, since we're talking about money, we want to put a decimal and make sure you have 2 digits after the decimal. You might have to round this, but make sure you don't have 3 digits. It doesn't make sense. We're talking money. You can't have less than 1 penny. And while we're talking about that, when you're rounding, do something that makes sense. If we're talking about the population, because population is often exponential, make sure you round to the closest whole number, because it's really creepy to tell me that a city's population is going to be 5,000,001/2. That means you're going to have half a person, and that's just weird. So please don't do that. Let's look at the next example. Okay, we got monthly car sales for a type of car. It's $350,000, and it's decreasing at a rate of 3%. Oh, you can't quite see that. 3% per month. We want the sales at 6 months. So what is our initial amount? That'd be right here. Here's our A, $350,000. Okay, is this exponential growth or decay? Well, since it's decreasing, that means we have decay. And our rate is 3%. Well, what's that as a decimal? That'd be 0.03, and that's our R. So let's put our A and R into our equation for decay. So you'd have this. Y equals A, which is 350,000, times 1 minus R, so 1 minus this, and it's to the T power. All right, let's simplify this a bit. 1 minus 0.03 is 0.97. So again, I just did 1 minus 0.03 and I got 0.97, still to the T power. All right, we want to know the sales at 6 months. So here's what I want you to do. Use this equation, plug in 6 for T, see what you get. So this is our equation. Well, if you did it right, you should have gotten $291,540. Whew, that's a lot of money. Okay, last one. I like this one because it has to do with chemistry, and my husband teaches chemistry, and I love chemistry as well. Okay, we've got 30 grams of iodine 131, and it has a half-life of 8 days. We want to know how much iodine 131 we'd have after 24 days. So notice we have the word half-life, so we're talking about half-life. So ask yourself, what's the equation for half-life? Well, we have it right up here. Here's our equation for half-life. A times 0.5 to the T. So our equation is A times 0.5 to the T. So we just really need to know what A is. What's our original amount of iodine? Well, that'd be 30 grams. So our equation would look like this. 30 times 0.5 to the T power. Okay, we need to know how much we have after 24 days. That's a little tricky. So we said we have Y equals 30 times 0.5 to the T power, but with half-life, T is the amount of time over the half-life. So we want 24 days divided by 8 days. So 24 divided by 8. So let's make that a little simpler. So that's 30 times 0.5. Well, 24 divided by 8 is 3. So this is what we need to calculate. 30 times 0.5 to the third power. And when you calculate that, you'd find out that we have 3.75 grams of iodine after 24 days. Okay, you have a practice page. Please note that numbers 1 through 4 on the practice page are what we did yesterday. And then 5 to the end has to do with this stuff. Do whatever order you want. It's due Friday. Let me know where you have questions, how I can help you. And remember, tomorrow we have a quiz. Have your notes tomorrow. So if you need to catch up on notes, now's a great time to catch up on notes. Best of luck.